got you. Just one more question, because I always try to keep it real.
Yeah.
Any regrets from that night?
Nah, I don't live with regrets, man. I really don't, man. I don't live with no regrets. And I wish I had the power to change the whole situation with happening with it, with the people. But like I say, it don't got nothing to do with me, man. Yeah.
Understand that. It's New Year's 2007. Denver Broncos cornerback Darren Williams is leaving the club early in the morning hours, 2:10 a.m. to be exact, when a vehicle pulled alongside of his Hummer H2 limousine. Shots were fired, and a single shot struck Darren Williams in the neck. He was pronounced deceased around 2:30 a.m. that morning. After a lengthy trial, local native Willie Clark was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison plus 1,152 years. Fast forward to June 7, 2025. I get an email from one of my sources saying Willie Clark wants to sit down and set the record straight about the findings and his role or lack thereof on that fatal night. I pondered, should I do this interview? But deep inside, something told me if he wants to tell his truth about that night, give him the floor. So here I present to you the unedited, full version interview I had with Mr. Willie Clark. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. So let's go. How you doing, man? How you doing, Willie?
Oh, man, how's it going?
It's going, man.
Good to see you, man.
I can't complain. One of your peeps that reached out, and I, even though I know that was an unfortunate situation and everything that happened, I feel everybody get the chance to try to have their story told. And if someone wants to, I'm definitely more willing to listen out. So the floor is yours, my dog. Like anything you need to say, get off your chest. I'm here.
Yeah, see, I was kind of, I wanted it to be known, like the whole, with everything, like, I was wrongfully convicted of the whole situation, but again, like I say, I wasn't convicted of the actual crime. They convicted me for complicity to the crime, so I wanted that to be known first and foremost, right?
Okay.
So, I'm sure everybody's under the assumption that he was convicted for the actual situation, but nah, it was the jurors. Well, for one, they charged me as the principal. They said, I did this and I did that, and the evidence showed that it was in direct conflict with what their star witness had, the story that he had was bought and paid to tell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he told them a story that that he got into the vehicle with myself and two other men, and he eyewitnessed me fire a black handgun out the passenger side window while driving. So their evidence shows that it was multiple firearms in that situation.
Yeah.
And it was also a woman who had testified and said, hey, this guy was causing, commotion or whatever, and I seen him get into this kind of vehicle, and they wrote the license plate number down. So the vehicle that she witnessed him get into and the license plate number is a whole totally different vehicle than he claimed that he was in with me and these two other men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole lot of stuff that was up in the air that I think it was over the heads of a lot of people. But like I say, a lot of people they're not really I won't say legal savvy, but they really just don't pay attention to the details that really matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could say I wasn't privy to it as well, because you only get what they tell you in the media, right? And only get what they put on the news, so you never really get the full details of what happened. That's one reason I wanted to speak to you. Another thing that when I did the story on Darren, a lot of people from your area was in that comment section telling me that Brendan Marshall was acting up that night, and they just won't stop saying it. And I'm like, damn, did you encounter Brendan Marshall that night?
No, I didn't have no encounter with him, but although he did claim that, I had gotten to it, but like I said, in the beginning with this dude, with Brendan Marshall, because they got video footage of the inside of the club, the outside of the club, going into it, the hanging out and all of that. So never did it ever show any instance where he and I interacted with each other.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he told them, initially, like, oh, I got into it with these people and this person and that person. And so they took him through the whole, when it's fresh on your mind, they took him through everything. And not once did he identify me. And clear as day, I'm on the video camera out in the front of there.
Yeah.
So not once did he identify me. So then days later, after they plastered my face all over the news, so he come in, probably like a couple, 2-3 weeks later, and was like, oh, I kind of think this is the guy, and and then he goes on to, it going into, I'm pretty sure that it's him, and then I'm sure and I'm positive it's him, and I'm like, well, damn, what is it? Because I never had no words with that dude. I really don't, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's mind-boggling for real, because it's like, this person can come and say, one person can come and say, hey, I know this person did this, and then you just charge this person. So again, I wasn't charged. Like I went through the motions. I got wrongfully falsely arrested for parole violation. I was at my attorney's office. Talking to my attorney, and 40 fugitive task force tucked in on us, and so the warrant was, we have a warrant for you for parole violation.
Yeah.
So my attorney's like, all right, well, show us the warrant. So they didn't have a warrant. So what they did was we sat there for about 3-4 hours until they got the judge to sign the warrant to arrest me for parole violation. So I go from there to downtown. I'm going through this whole thing, and they got me sitting in the room, and I'm sitting there like, well, damn, if I'm on parole violation, then, like, book me and get me on my way.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there. The guy comes. He's like, man, do you want to talk to me? I'm like, talk to you about what? He's like, about the situation. I'm like, look, just get my lawyer down here, and we'll figure it out. So he's like, okay. So they go get my lawyer. My lawyer was downstairs the whole time. I didn't even know it. So he come up there. He's like, man, what's up? I said, man, I'm tired. Tell these people, book me on this parole violation and send me on my way. Come in, dude, he's angry. Like, oh, I thought you was going to talk to us. I said, I did talk to you. I just told you. Right now, I'm tired. Book me, send me on my way. So they booked me, sent me on my way. I stayed in the city jail for a couple weeks. So while I was, I got sent to the county jail. So I'm in the county jail. We go to this parole hearing, and it's me and my lawyer. And so we like, okay, well, give us, the fact that how I violated parole. So the lady tells us that I changed my address without notifying them.
Okay. So
I'm like, okay, well, how did you? How did you come to the conclusion that I changed my address? She said, oh, well, I called your grandmother's house, and I spoke to a little kid, and the little kid said you don't live there. So I said, so out of all the adult people there, you didn't speak to no adult? She said, no, I didn't talk to an adult. I talked to a little kid. I said, all right, well, I had my lawyer call my dad. He went and got my grandmother. My grandmother came down there and said, hey, he lives here with me. So they said, all right, we're going to reset. So we reset the parole hearing. So I come back to the parole hearing like a couple weeks later, and I'm like, okay, so what's the deal? They're like, oh, well, we're going to violate your parole because you failed to pay your supervision fee and your restitution fee. So, I'm like, okay, so you got proof that I did that I failed to pay this, and they're like, yeah. So I said, okay, well, check this out, because I, just from being, around, I keep receipts for everything. Like, I stop at gas stations, I keep them receipts. When I go shopping, I keep those receipts. So I got a big ass box full of receipts. So I tell my lawyer, hey, call my dad, tell me that box of receipts. So my dad come with the box of receipts. We lay out all of my supervision and all my monthly fees, all in receipts. So now they're like dumbfounded. So we're like, okay, so what is it now? So the lady's like, well, I'm just going to give you a 180-day turnaround. You should do 180 days and you'll get out. So I'm like, well, damn, this is for nothing. She's like, oh, you know, pretty much this is what we decided.
Yeah.
So I go do my 180 days. But while I'm doing my 180 days, you got the DEA and the Metro Gang Task Force. They picking up everybody that I've associated and acquainted myself with. And so they picking everybody up on federal drug charges. So I believe it was around like June, I want to say 28th.
Okay.
I got indicted by a federal grand jury for conspiracy to distribute cocaine.
Yeah, I read that.
So I go through that whole motion with these people in the federal system for 18 months, fighting them. Like, show me where you have proof that I conspired with anybody to do anything. They had no proof. This was just a stall and holding tactic. So while we're going through this, they worked all these deals with all these people. You know, hey, look, if you tell us this and you do this, and a lot of these people was willing to be coerced because most of them was facing life in 30 years in federal prison. So, you know, the easiest thing to do was, hey, let's point the finger at this guy and let's say this and say that and say this, and we're going to go home.
Yeah, that happens more than a lot of people believe. A lot of people don't believe that happens a lot, man. That what you're talking about right there.
And that's what happened. So they when they finally was able to get a sellable story, then they took it to, now mind you, they were going to the grand jury to try to indict me on state charges months and months and months before. So every single one of those grand jury hearings, the grand jury told them, you do not have enough to charge him with murder.
Yeah.
You don't have enough. You don't have enough. You don't have enough. So then, until they finally got this one person to say, oh, yeah, just say you was in the back seat and you seen this and you seen that. So that's what it was. And that's how it happened. So he came, and he got on the stand, and he testified, oh, yeah, I was in the back seat, and he said he was drunk, or he was sprayed with mace. He didn't know what was going on. But then you got this security guard lady who says that she sees him causing problems, and so she diffuses the situation and see him getting into a whole totally different vehicle. So my whole thing is this: if you have these people, and this woman, she has no dog in this fight. You know, she don't know me. So she's what we call a civilian. So her civic duty is to, bear witness if she is witnesses a crime. Come forward and you tell, what you know.
Yeah.
And that is that. That's her civic duty. So she did that.
Willie, I have a question. I know the streets always talk, and I know how it is. I'm from New Orleans. I know how it talk. Was it talk on the street of who did do it?
See, this is the thing though about it. Like I say this, like I don't even get myself immersed in all of that. Like he said, she said, and all this, and you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, after this whole situation took place, I went about my normal life because shit, I don't have nothing to do with it, and my people don't got nothing to do with it. So this has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And that's just the norm of every day, because I got friends that got killed and it didn't stop nobody else's days, and everything just kept on going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta keep moving.
Yeah, so and I didn't run. I didn't get on no plane and go to Mexico, and I didn't go out of state. I went nowhere. I stayed here because I had nothing to run and nothing to hide from. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Is your attorney trying to fight? Are you trying to reopen that case and fight for it? You got your head to the books in that place, trying to get out of there?
I definitely do. Like right now, I'm on my 35C. Like my initial my direct appeal was reversed and remanded back to the trial court. So we go back to the trial court, And, they gave her instructions, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And it was a different judge. It was a different judge from the trial judge. So we go, and the woman doesn't even follow any of the instructions that the Court of Appeals gave her. She just denied my motion for a new trial and sent me on my way. So we appealed that decision, and the Court of Appeals affirmed her decision, saying, she's not in the wrong for what she did. It's her discretion. So it's like, if this is these people's discretion, who follows the law? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're fighting upstream, like they say.
And that's what it is. And it's like, and coming from where I come from, and I can speak for a lot of black people, man. Like, our people really ain't, they're not really vocal. They're not willing to be like, step out there on the front line for you and go to protest and just go to bat for you, how other races or other nationalities, families are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it leaves us to do this on our own.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where I'm at with it. I'm on my own. I got a couple good men, Bobby, like my man you had called in, my other partner, and my dad, and I got a couple other good people that's solid and rocking with me. But it's like it's like we're not being heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All I can say is keep fighting, man, because if you know that you're innocent in your heart and you didn't do something, a man will fight to the end of the death to plead his innocence. Don't stop.
Most definitely. And that's the journey I'm on. You know what I mean?
All it takes is one person to hear that. Like, thousands of people are gonna hear this, and you never know what that might start.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm hoping that somebody be willing to be like, well, you know what? Let's really look into this, because the prosecutors, man, them people played a dirty game, man. They didn't give the people or that man's family, they didn't give them the information that them people needed to hear, like that they deserve to hear. They withheld, and they it's crazy, man. It's like I say, people didn't know. I got convicted for complicity because at the end, during her deliberation, the jurors came back and asked the judge, hey, can we find him guilty of these 39 counts under his jury instruction number 16? So jury instruction number 16 is a complicit instruction, and that complicit instruction is a person is guilty of an offense committed by another person if he is a complicit.
Yeah.
If guilty as a complicit, the problem must be established beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
The crime must have been committed. Another person must have committed all or part of the crime. The defendant must have had knowledge that the other person intended to commit all or part of the crime. The defendant must have had the intent to promote or facilitate the commission of the crime. The defendant must have aided.
Secure.
So the number 5 in that is the defendant must have aided, abated, advised, or encouraged the other person in the commission or planning of the crime. I've done neither of this. So this jury instruction shouldn't have even been admitted into my jury instruction, because they went on it. They went on it saying, "I am the principal, not the complicit." That was their whole. I was charged as a principal, not a complicit. So why would you as a prosecutor say, "Hey, judge, can we add this jury instruction for complicity in his jury instruction?"
Yeah.
And the only reason why is so they can say, "Look, we got to try to do something to find him guilty," because, hey man, it's public record in my transcripts and in their opening statement. Not one time did that man mention anything about complicity. Not one time. Not one single time did he mention anything about me being a complicit. But in his closing argument, closing argument comes after the case has already been litigated on both sides. In his closing argument, on page number 90, line 23, he says, well, I'll start with line 16. He say, okay, and this is an instruction that tells you under the law how this man, Willie Clark, is legally and morally responsible for this murder and the shooting and the injury of the other people. We'll talk about Daniel Harris, PT, in a few minutes, but even if you were to conclude, and there's no evidence to this, and we'll talk about it, that Daniel Harris was the other shooter in that car, it is this instruction, jury instruction 16, that enables you as the fact finders to hold this man responsible under the law. So it's like, if you say if I'm the principal, there's no need for you to go into this complicity instruction. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. When during that trial, when them people heard him say what he said, like I sit there and I watched him. I'm checking everybody's body language. I'm watching facial expressions. I'm very attentive. I'm paying attention to everything. So I seen him after he testified. I'm seeing them look at him like, really? Are you serious? So, and I'm just like, wow. Now, mind you, I tell you, the woman, she said she seen him jump to the back of the vehicle and speed off. So she said the reason why she wrote the license plate number down because he looked like he was a threat. So the license plate number comes back, and it's a vehicle that belongs to a woman who's in a relationship with a friend of his or whatever. So again, I tell you, I always tell people, man, I'm not here to say who did. I'm here to say who didn't.
Who didn't?
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I feel that.
Yeah, because I don't. That's their job. They was paid and elected to investigate and do all that, and that's not my job. My job is, as a black man, for real, when I was out, was to stay alive and make me a couple of dollars, take care of my people, and do all that. That's what I was on. So that's their job. But and around the corner from there, it was another witness who testified that he heard the shot, looked over his shot, and seen a particular kind of vehicle, or a specific kind of vehicle, I should say, a specific kind of vehicle, and it wasn't no white Chevy Tahoe that he seen. So it's like, well, damn. Now, to me, since I was a kid, you told me 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah. And as I got older and I did the math, 2 + 2 meant 4.
Did he testify?
Yes, he testified. He testified and stuck his piece. But check this out. After the situation went on, he seen what he seen. He went to sleep. He woke up. He seen the news. He said, "Well, damn, I seen this." He went down there to the crime scene, gave them a statement. Hey, this is what I seen. But tell me, do you think them people contacted him anytime?
Yeah, figured they wouldn't.
Did not contact this man, not one time. Didn't contact him to come in and do a video interview as they do in most homicide cases.
Yeah.
So come in, didn't contact him at all. So now, another thing is, do you think what do you think they did with the license plate number that they was getting that same night?
What did they look for him? What did they do?
So they went and found who he was, called him down there. They came down there. This woman's like, "Oh man, please don't take my truck. Look, please, I gotta go to work." And they're like, "All right, go ahead." Didn't do a gunshot residue test on this truck or nothing. Didn't do none of that. So the woman left, moved out of state, sold the vehicle. I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like they cited on something, and it was kind of like, it was evident of what they was trying to do. They was trying to make.
Yeah, it seemed like they made up their mind already and wasn't caring about any other evidence that was coming into play.
And didn't care about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Didn't care about anything else, but it was this. Now I tell you, and this is the honest to God truth, man. The man came when I was in the county jail. They did a whole lot of broken shit while I was there too. So I was in the county jail. The sheriff pulled me out. So I'm like, "What's up?" They're like, "Oh, you got attorneys in." So I'm like, "All right." So I go to this room, and it's the homicide detectives in there. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What's up with them?" I'm like, "Hey, I thought you said my attorney." They slammed the door on me, shut me in there with them. I'm like, "Man, what?" Dude's like, "Hey, man, this is when I first got arrested." He's like, "Man, you want to go to jail for life for something you didn't do? Why don't you just help us and cooperate?" I said, "Check it out, man. I I've already cooperated with y'all. I told y'all what my situation is. I'm gone. So they came and correct me if I'm wrong. Now, if they come to you and they say, hey, can you give us a DNA sample? And you comply and give them a DNA sample. Or if they come and say, hey, is this your handwriting? And you comply, yeah, this is my handwriting.
Yeah.
That's cooperation, right?
Yeah, fully. Because I didn't have to do it.
Yeah, so, exactly. Because I didn't have to do that. I could have said, fuck you, go on about your business. But I did that. Just, hey, look. Now, because I'm not willing to go against my morals and my values and say what you want me to say and be coerced, I'm uncooperative and I'm just as guilty as this person or that person or that person. It's like, well, damn. And it's all based on how they feel. If they feel like, this is this and that's what it is and it ain't nothing else. And then the people that, that elected these people and hired these people, they go with that. So they can tell you the story on the TV like, oh, this dude he's a murderer, gang banger, drug dealer, and all this. And I grew up where I grew up at. And the last time I checked, it wasn't illegal to be a part of a street gang.
Yeah. Yeah, we grew up in certain places. Yeah. We dealt the hand that we born with the hand we dealt, right? We don't make it.
And that's just it. And so it's like, well, then so they say, oh, it's not against the law to be a part of the gang or to associate with gang members and this and that. So, but they still say, oh, he's guilty because he's associated with gangs. And gangs, they do this. And gangs do that. And gangs, they paint this crazy ass picture about people when that's not really the truth.
Yeah.
Like a person won't really know your struggles unless they know you. Or they don't know your walk unless they walk with you. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. The news points you out sometime in the story that they put to the people. It's over with because everybody's going to have a perceived notion on what you are and who you are and where you come from and who you hang out with. And you fight an uphill battle from the beginning sometime in certain situations, And
that's exactly what happened, unfortunately, man. And it's like, well, how can... And like I talk to I'll be telling my partner and my other partner, I'm like, man, how can we change the narrative of this whole situation without going against the values and the codes that we grew up on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got what you just said 100%. If people not listening out there, I got what you're saying 100%. That last statement you just said, I know I got you.
Most definitely. And I think, man, all I'm asking for is, like I tell them, man, everything that I say is not a claim because I can prove it with documentation. And I got documents that prove, hey, look, this is this and this is that. And like I say, this is a big thing, man, to people. If you look at it like, I've never seen a situation like my situation. Because I've seen plenty of my childhood friends go to jail for drive-by shootings and for other type of shootings, and everybody that was involved went to jail.
Yeah.
Everybody that was involved got some time, or did, you know what I'm saying? So in this situation, you got this person who I know the jurors did not believe him. He said, hey, man, it was me and these two and these three people. I'm the only person that got charged, tried, and wrongfully convicted. And which is it's okay with me because it's like I know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it just it paints the picture that shouldn't be painted. Look at how they handled this situation. This situation was totally mishandled.
It happens a lot, especially in our damn country. Now, Willie, any we gonna get out of here soon. I was good to have you, brother. But any words you want to tell people out there besides the words you just told them?
No, that's it, man. If you know somebody that's going through this same type of situation, man, do the right thing. Stand up with them, fight with them, because it takes more than just one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes, like I say to the people that was affected by this situation, like I'm an open book. Like I say, I got everything to prove that I didn't have nothing to do with this situation.
Gotcha.
So what they told you was wrong, and I wanted to show you what they told you was wrong.
Gotcha. Just one more question, because I always try to keep it real.
Yeah.
Any regrets from that night?
Most definitely. Nah, I don't live with regrets, man. I really don't, man. I don't live with no regrets. And
Gotcha.
I wish I had the power to change the whole situation with happened with it, with the people. But like I say, it don't got nothing to do with me, man. Yeah,
Understand that.
It's sad, but it's it's a reality, man. It just is what it is.
Gotcha. So on that note, Willie, if you have any other things that you want to talk to, reach out to that source. I don't want to put it out there who it is. You know how it is. We know who it is. Reach out to them, and they'll reach out to me. And whenever you have I'm on a platform to speak on your case, especially if you have some new findings come up in your case, my brother, just give me a reach out through that source, and I got you.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I send my love and respect to you, man, and I hope all is well and you continue to,
You keep your head up in there, brother. Keep your head up, man.
Most definitely. Thank you, man. God bless you.
God bless you too, man. Have a good one.